That's Dr. Letitia Obeng, Ghana's first female scientist. Dr. Letitia Obeng made history as the first Ghanaian woman to earn a bachelor's degree in science. Again, she is the first woman to be awarded a PhD in tropical medicine. With this background, the scientific community in Ghana has continuously referred to her as the grandmother of female scientists. As a renowned researcher, she has researched extensively on water, aqualife, the environment, and also critical areas on tropical medicine in general. Key among her research projects include her project on black fly and its relevance in river blindness. Dr. Obeng is also credited with the setting up of the National Research Institute of Aquabiology in the 60s, which is currently the Water Resources Institute of CSIR. Dr. Letitia Obeng spent many years working with sector ministers and communities on policies, strategies, project preparation, implementation, and evaluation while partnering with other aid assistance groups and organizations. Dr. Letitia Obeng recently published her memoir in a book she titled Anthology of a Lifetime. On this edition of Legends of Our Time, we sit down with Dr. Letitia Obeng.
I'm Osei Achimbo, and I'm the current director of CSI Water Research Institute. Though I did not personally work with Dr. Letitia Obeng, but I've had some interactions with her, and it showed depth knowledge, and we realized his contribution towards research and development activity, especially in the area of water and related resources, has been quite immense. It's among the early scientists that ever work on the water lake, looking at the classification of the water lake, looking at the various organisms within the water lake, and in fact a lot of things. If we want to look at the beginnings of the work that was done on the water lake, the beginning starts with Dr. Letitia Obeng.
Dr. Letitia Obeng, thank you so much for talking to Legends of Our Time on GBC News and also Ghana Television.
Thanks for inviting me. Thank you.
Welcome, ma. So let's begin with your major achievement. You know, some 57 years ago, you made history as the first woman in Ghana to be awarded a degree in science. And then some 8 years after, you were also awarded a doctorate in tropical medicine. How did the journey begin for you?
Well, like everybody else, you go to primary school, you go to secondary school, which in my case was Achimota, of course. And then you finish with what you can do here at that time it was Gold Coast, not Ghana. It was Gold Coast. You could only go as far as what we used to call A-level. I don't know what they call it now. And beyond that, you had to go to university, and we did not have universities at that time. So not just me, a few of my classmates as well, we were sent by the government to universities in different parts of the world. I went to Britain, went to Birmingham University. Just to continue what I was doing, I had been very interested in zoology when I was doing my A-levels, which is about animals, mostly about animals, and botany, which was about in other words, I was interested in things biological. So I was sent to Birmingham University, where I did a science degree, a BSc degree in zoology and botany. That took 4 years, and I came back. I came back to Ghana to make myself useful. And,
in what sense?
Yes, and then when I came back, at the time I came back, the University of Kwame Nkrumah University of, it was Kwame Nkrumah College of Science and Technology. It
at
was
the time.
Then, yes, that's how it started. They were just beginning. The students had been taken from Achimota. They'd gone on leave. They would be coming back to start the university. And I went to the college in Kumasi to visit some people. And to cut a long story short, I got a job there, applied and got a job.
As a lecturer?
As a lecturer at the new university, which was beginning to to lecture pre-university, no, pre-medical and pre-pharmacy students in zoology.
Okay.
So that's how I got to Kumasi, and I was there for about 9 years or so, something like that. Yeah. I stayed there and taught them, and then after that I came to Accra.
What courses did you teach at
Just
KNUST now?
At that time, it wasn't KNUST,
Yeah.
it was just college.
Mm.
And I was teaching zoology. A colleague of mine was teaching chemistry. That's how it was done in those days. Now, of course, now the subjects have all been chopped up into little bits, but we were doing the whole ones. Yeah, so I was teaching them zoology, which meant everything about the animals and so on and so on. That's what we were doing. It was a 2-year course. And it was very interesting for me because I myself was quite young at the time. I just finished. I was just over 30, not even quite around there, 30-something. I just come back. And it was, in fact, some of my students in the class were older than me. And they were all men. They were all gentlemen. It was very interesting. But then
why was it so? The women were not interested?
There weren't any women candidates, students. There weren't any. But these things happen. And in those days, you see, whoever would have come was probably going through the O-level and A-level before they come to Kumasi. So that's my luck. I didn't have any. But they were so keen to learn. And I can assure you, if you have students who are keen to learn, and you are also interested in what you want to teach them, it's the best job in this world. So these gentlemen came, and they were very nice. They were all polite towards me. I suppose they looked on me as some little girl, because some of them were bigger than me. Anyway, so we took the A-level and the first 2 years to do the pre. That they needed to go to medical school and pharmacy. In fact, most of the pharmacists, I don't know how many of them are left now. There was one I knew, but I think it's also gone. Most of them passed through my hands. The very early ones, they passed through my hands in Kumasi. Wonderful people, We didn't have any facilities because the university was just starting. They had ordered things, they hadn't come. The principal took me to a building, a room, a long room like this, benches on this side. And then he said, well, this is your laboratory. That was all there was, benches on this side and the table on that side where you work. He said, this is your laboratory.
And did you have the equipment?
Nothing, that's what I'm saying. It was empty.
It was empty.
It was chairs on this side and tables on that side.
So
that
how
was
did you manage?
I'm going to tell you. That was my very first big challenge. Young girl from university going to teach other boys entering a new university without a laboratory. You see, so there was one microscope which was all moldy anyway. So he took me in there and said, well, this is it. You have to try and do what you can do with what you've got here. There was nothing there, just one beaker. And then in 2 weeks' time, you'll be getting, what did he say, 20 or 24 students without any. So I said, thank you, sir, and he went. So of course it meant I had to set up the laboratory.
So how did you manage?
Oh, I did. If you read my biography, you see it's all written in detail.
But share with us,
Yeah, it's all written in detail there if you want details about it. I had to, for a laboratory for zoology, you need pie dishes, you need dissecting boards, you need dissecting this, you need all sorts of things, which we didn't have. So to get the pie dishes, what I did was I was in Kumasi, I went to the market and I bought pie dishes. You know the pie dishes we use for making pies in the kitchen? The square ones, white ones. I bought a whole lot of them. Then I bought a whole bunch of candles. In those days, electricity was there, but we used candles, and so there were lots of candles in the market. So I bought a lot of candles. I came home, and with my, he later on became my husband, helping me, we melted all the candles, put them in the pie dish. When the pie dishes, when the candle cooled down, the pie dishes had become dissecting dishes. So that's how I got my dissecting dishes. But for the dissecting boards, I just got some wawa wood, showed the carpenter how to make dissecting boards for me. I mean, it was all improvised. But 2 weeks after I'd been given this job, when the students came, I was ready. I had my dogfish, I had my everything, I had everything ready. Not many dissecting things because couldn't get them. The few, if I could buy anything in Kumasi, I bought it. But
Doc, how did you have to go through all this in order to get your equipment kind of to teach your students? Because it wasn't your responsibility. It was that of the university.
If you had been in my position, an excited, interested young graduate at the time, you wouldn't have thought of anything. You wouldn't have gone to the boss and said, but I haven't got a dressing book and I haven't got this. No, you get out and you do it, which is what I did. You know, it was fantastic. And fortunately for me, what was even the best of the lot, when the students came, they were so enthusiastic. And you know, if you've taught before, if you're teaching people things and they're enthusiastic, it boosts you know, it
your
makes
morale.
everything so different. That's exactly what I had for 2 years. The first set and the second set, I left after that, you see. So they all put their bodies and souls into what we were supposed to do. Some of them had never even seen microscopes, you know. But they all put their body and they listened to me, I listened to them, we worked together.
And what became the outcome?
The result, sorry?
The result or the outcome?
The result, it was good. It was A-levels. It was fantastic. It was fantastic. They all had high marks and so on. I'm telling you, they became pharmacists, some became doctors. One of them became an agriculturist, you know. But they really, the important thing for me was that I had gone somewhere and learned these things. And I've come back and I've given them to people who were also willing
to learn,
to take it from me. And it was really, I can assure you, fantastic.
You know, let's look at your area, zoology. What's so special about that topic that at that age you'd want to, you know, other people would want to go into medicine or any other field, but then you opted for zoology. What's so special about zoology?
Even to go to medicine, you have to, at one point, pass through zoology before you go there. It's the basic one. About living beings, living things, not plants, living animals. That's what zoology is about. All the living animals, not plants, everything. So if you do that, by the time you finish, you wouldn't know everything, but you have a good idea what is living with us on this planet, what animals are living with us on this planet. And there are different things, doing different things, helping us in different ways, giving us problems in other ways. You know, it's a fantastic thing to be able to study. It was at that time, you know, because it was a broad thing. Of course, now you take one subject and they carve a little bit out of it, and that's what you study. Well, we had to study the whole thing. It was fantastic, I can assure you. You see, so the students went, and then
so finally you left college of.
After that, I had to leave. I was there for 9 years or something like that. But I had to leave. My husband died. I had to leave, and I came to Accra.
And you went for further
studies?
To Accra.
No, I came to Accra because I even went to Kumasi to the university,
College of.
Before I went there, I had made it quite clear that I didn't want to be a lecturer or anything. I just wanted to go into research so I can study a lot more about my field. So I left Kumasi. Fortunately for me, at that time, President Nkrumah was setting up the National Research Council, which is now CSR. So I was employed. I was the first and only woman, only employee for a long time, you know. And we had laboratories in Achimota and places like that, you know. So I went from lecturing at Kumasi to the National Research Council of Ghana.
And then you set up the aquatic biology.
No, that's a long time after that.
So at CSIR now, what was your portfolio?
When I joined the National Research Council, at the time, it was National Research Council. This is just a bit of history I'm giving you. National Research Council. And then Nkrumah set up the Ghana Academy of Sciences, and the Ghana Academy of Learning. The learning bit became the Ghana Academy of Arts and Science that we know of, the professors and people. And the one of the sciences became CSR.
Oh, okay.
That's what happened, you see. So I went to the CSR section. And at that time, it was a small thing. We called it Biological Research Institute or something like that. It was a small, it was just me. It was me and there was one man who was also a laboratory person. That's the two of us for quite a time.
And what did you do there?
For me, because I had wanted to go on learning biology and all the rest of it.
You had research in mind.
While the institute was building up, because that was also starting from scratch, no equipment, nothing of that sort. I started working on learning about, or collecting and learning about the parasites of rodents.
Okay.
Of course, parasites are parasites for human beings, for birds, for everything. They're parasites. So I started rodents, so it was easy to get parasites from rodents. That's easy to catch if you can catch them. So I was working on that. I did quite a lot of work. Tabulated all the parasite, different ones I found and how they were distributed. And I, in fact, used that material which I produced to do my MSc. I presented to the university in England, and that's how I got my MSc. I did the work here, presented it to England, and I got the MSc.
That's your master's?
Yes, my master's degree. Yeah, so that's how I got it. But before I had finished the master's degree, then I was offered to go to Liverpool. Now, this was Nkrumah's time. Okay. And maybe most people may have forgotten or they don't know. He was very particular about women.
Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes. He wanted to push us whichever way we wanted to go. I mean, otherwise, how would I have had any chance? You know, there were, I've forgotten her name now. I think she eventually did law or something. I think the two of us went to Britain about the same time. If you were a woman, a girl, and you showed that you were interested in studies, whether it was science or whatever, he'll push you. You see, he'll push you. So while I was doing my MSc, people really sometimes misinterpreted what was going on, but I'm telling you what I know. While I was looking at my parasites of rodents, busy trying to understand the thing, I looked around one day in the lab, and there was this white man with, you know, nice gray, silver hair, partly bald, and he was looking over my shoulder, and in my lab, and he said, "Whatever it is that you're looking at on the microscope, if I was the thing, I will get up and take off my hat to you," meaning that I was so serious that I didn't notice that. Anyway, when he came...
You know, Doc, let's quickly take a break, and when we come back, we'll continue the conversation from there. So you're watching Legends of Our Time on GBC News and Ghana Television. My guest for today is Dr. Letitia Obeng, Ghana's first woman to earn a bachelor's in zoology. I'll take a quick break. When I come back, we'll talk more. Please don't go away. The program is Legends of Our Time on GBC News and Ghana Television. On Legends of Our Time, we talk to our heroes who make all of us proud. My name is Gifty J, and my guest for today is Dr. Letitia Obeng, Ghana's first woman to earn a degree in zoology. So, Doc, let's wrap up with the story you were talking about before.
He said this, and then he went on to say, I'm the Dean of the School of Tropical Medicine in England, in Liverpool, England. And I've come to offer you a place to do a PhD in my school. And I said,
that was even before
with the MSc, I don't know what I'm doing, and you're offering me a PhD course. And we laughed, and then he said, okay, I'll come back to you. So he left, and I didn't see him again. But I got a note from government to say that I'd been given a scholarship to go to Liverpool to do a PhD.
Just like that.
Well, I was so struggling on the MSc, which for me it was a very good opportunity.
Initiative.
When I went there, the reason why I went, that time we had very strong, very heavy infection with river blindness.
Okay.
And the bug which gives us the river blindness is transmitted. Like mosquito bites us and gives us malaria. There's a bug called similium which bites and gives us river blindness.
River blindness.
Okay. So, and it's a biology thing. I did zoology, and it's an animal. Okay. So I was interested to find out, about this fly which bites and gives us black fly. It's called similium, which bites and gives us this fly. So that was the reason why I went to the school itself did medical things, but they also have facilities for research for other things. And I went to study this fly. And I went to study the similium in England because there they knew, whoever sent me knew that if the fly bites me, I will not get onchocerciasis. Here, if they bite me, I'll get onchocerciasis. So I could study that.
Why was
because
it so?
the ones here are infected and they give. The ones over there, they do not. Like mosquitoes in Europe don't give malaria, but our mosquitoes give us malaria. So it was safe for me to study them over there.
So what did you find out from your study?
When I went, I had to learn about the fly, how it develops. The idea was that if we knew how the fly develops from egg to larva to pupa to cancer, we would find a place where we can hit it, so it doesn't become a grown-up fly. You see what I mean? Like mosquitoes, malaria mosquitoes, if we really were serious and we could find out and watch where the fly, let's say before it becomes a pupa, or when it's a pupa, before that's the best thing, and we kill it. You kill all the pupa before they become, there won't be any flies. You see what I mean? But you have to find out exactly when and how and where. So I want to study the similium fly so that we can use that knowledge to try and kill them in the Volta. It was in the Volta River and all its tributaries where water was fast. See, so that's what I went to do.
So after your studies, were we able to control that problem?
No. We still have river binders and we have the... If you can imagine Volta from Upper Volta right down to the sea, it's a long thing. And whichever portions of it are fast, you get the flies there. And you can't, you really need to mount a big thing before you could do it. We haven't been able to get rid of mosquitoes.
But with your research, what did you find out? Because I know for research, you either solve a problem or you add on to knowledge. So what did you find out?
You contribute to solving the problem. Well, some can solve the problem straight away, but most research, you contribute to solving a problem. So mine was to contribute to finding, to learning about the fly and the larval stages in water so that we can attack the larval stages before they become flies to go and bite people. That was what I was trying to do, to learn about the stages before the larval stages. That's what I went to do, which is what I did. I was able to find out how we can tell where they are, what stage they're in, are they going to become pupae soon, and that sort of thing. That was the work I was supposed to do, which I did.
That's what you did.
I brought the message back. But it's a big problem. If you can imagine the Volta River, like I said, with portions of it, with all these flies all over the place. And apart from that, all our tributaries, all our other rivers, as long as there's a part of the river which is fast, you get the flies breeding there. So it's very wide. So to do it in Ghana, we'd have to survey all our rivers, find out where these things are growing, and then try to tackle them.
But over the years, have we been able to do that?
We still got river blindness, in spite of the fact that WHO even instituted a huge program on it. We still got it. Nature, you see, nature is such a thing. You cannot. I don't think I know of any animal, probably except the dodo, or any plant, which has actually been eliminated, completely removed from this earth. I don't know any. Maybe I'm sure they are. I don't know everything. I don't know any. It's not possible. You can control. It's control.
But currently, is it under control? Have you been able to control it?
The way things are, results are not that clear-cut. If you go to along the river, along the Volta right now, where it is not smooth like a lake, where it's still fast and the plants are big, you get bitten. Even if in your village, if there's a fast flowing section of a river there, and you go there, you get bitten. Now, you cannot remove those things like that. It doesn't work that way. Anyway, let me just wrap this little better. So I went and I studied that. Because I was working with water all the time, because these flies were in water. And for 3 years, I was staring into water and doing all this. By the time I finished studying the larvae I had become completely taken over by water. And because water itself is also a huge subject. A huge subject, you see. So I did my PhD, got my similium results and water results and so on. And then I came back. Came back to Ghana. Came back to the CSIR. At that time it was still Academy of Sciences. But then later on it changed.
Let's, as a researcher, aside the one you've talked about, the black fly and the river blindness, what other projects have you taken that are so high profiled that you'd want to talk about?
Well, it's not so much what I studied. I mean, I did my similium, I did all that. It's not that. It's what I used, the information I got, or the knowledge that I picked up from doing all this research, what I used it for. That one I can tell you.
Please tell me.
That one I can tell you, but I didn't go to do another thing. Now, it's like I said, because I was working with water all this time, I got an insight into our water, rivers, streams. It's incredible. I'm so surprised that people are not so excited about water. It's amazing.
What is it about water that makes you that passionate when you're talking about the subject matter?
Next time you go to your village, go to the stream. You go to your village, go to the stream. Just stand there and look at the water and watch what happens. Watch all the little things which are swimming around in it. Watch the plants which are there. Watch the way the water is even flowing. I mean, it's very easy once your mind is open to see things which other people can't see. It's very easy. Anyway, in any case, so when I came, by the time I came back, I was sold to water. Water, not just rivers, but water for the whole world. Our water, without water, we die. You know, without air, we'll probably die fast. Without water, we die, let's say, a week, 2 weeks. If you don't have any water, you die. You see, so water, we can't do anything, but water, that is something that we as human beings on this planet have to protect. Without water, there won't be any plants, there won't be any food, there won't be anything, there won't be any weather, nothing. So we have to protect that now. So when I came back...
Recently, I heard your publication on the fact that we're having a lot of water weeds on the Volta.
That's just what I was going to say.
Yeah, Volta River.
When I came back, they were just starting to build the Volta Dam. They had started, actually, they just opened it soon after, not immediately, soon after I returned home. Now, the dam had been planned for a long time. Finally, it was open. And when I came back, everybody was excited because we were building a dam. But I couldn't see anybody concerned about the water which we were going to hold together. That huge amount of water we were going to compile. And what it can do, and what
the effect,
harm it can do to us. What the things which can breed in them. You know, okay, good, we'll have plenty of fish. But all the little things, and all the environmental things
impact
which could go wrong with a huge... Right now, the Volta Dam is the largest man-made lake in world history.
Not the
Never
second.
thinking, in
Not the
world
second.
history.
Not the second.
So that in history, nobody has built a dam like ours. So that's how big it was. And yet, nobody seemed to care about what was going to happen.
So what did you do? What did you tell
That's
them?
exactly what I did, yes.
What kind of consultancy
I
came
didn't
from
do
you?
any consultancy. There was no need for any what I wanted to do. I didn't do any consultancy. I was aware that with the putting so much water together in one place, we were just caught in different kinds of trouble.
Okay.
You know,
so what kind of
different
troubles
kinds of
did
trouble.
you foresee
So,
at the time?
Yeah. Oh no. Well, I mean, it's not that people did. It hadn't occurred to anybody. I
But
mean,
at least
I had to go to Liverpool to realize that water was so important. In fact, sat here, maybe I would never have realized it. We haven't really thought about water, our streams, where we get our water. Not really, you see. So I realized that unless we did something, we're going to unleash unto ourselves through the dam all sorts of environmental problems. One which was very simple, bilharzia, schistosomiasis, it was already on the portions of the lake, you know, and if the of the river on the outskirts, if the river stopped flowing and it became a lake, we're creating places for the snails and therefore to boost bilharzia. And already we don't even know how we are controlling the problems that way. That was one of them. There are a whole lot of things. Water quality, all that sort of thing. So I started talking to my friends and I said, hey, we have been this huge thing and we haven't got any scientific
Control
to support
measures.
what's going on. Oh, I mean, nobody had thought about it. They were laughing at me. They would say, oh, Letitia, you too, this stream which is here, this small stream, what is in it? If you look in, you can see a few carrier and fish floating. So what's all this fuss about? They were, I was so heartbroken because the people that I expected to understand me and side with me, so we say, let's do this, they were all, you know. So in the end, I decided I was going to write. So I wrote to the academy, the chairman or the president of the academy, and I said, we're doing this dam, we need to start, just like cocoa. We have cocoa farms. We have research people who are looking at and sorting all things out for them, giving, we have soils, everybody, there's so many, all our natural resources, most of them, except water, the most important resource in the world. Except that Ghana we hadn't even thought of giving it any research, studying, or do anything about it at all. So anyway, I wrote and I suggested to this Ghana Academy of Sciences that since you're looking at cocoa, you're looking at crops, you're looking at soils, you're looking at this, and you're looking at that.
Water.
Water is very important. Yeah. Therefore, I suggest that we also have a full-time research institute to look at our water resources. Because without that, the cocoa can't grow. Crops, plantain and things won't come.
Yeah, animals can't get water to drink.
Well, I had a lot of interviews. They interviewed me because most people had not thought that way. So I didn't mind. They interviewed me, difficult questions, and they said all sorts of things about it, of my friends and so on. But in the end, the committee decided, okay.
Bring your input.
My father used to say, if you want something from somebody and he's not giving, just keep on. He will say, take it.
So finally, they asked you to take it.
Okay. So I had to build let me finish. I have to build, it's important. I had to build.
I have to quickly take my second break. When I come back, I'll give you the opportunity
because that's very important.
To wrap up. Yeah. But do you know today your water lake is being used as a sand mine? We are mining for sand in your water lake.
I heard it about a month or 2 months ago. So I've put cotton wool in my ear. I'm not listening because if I thought nobody's going to listen. I've done everything. Nobody's going to listen.
Okay.
I'll
take my break. When I come back, I'll give you the opportunity to respond to that. Well, the conversation is becoming so interesting, but we have to take another break. And when we come back, we'll continue. production legends of our time on GBC News and Ghana Television. My name is Gifty Eji, and my guest for today is Dr. Letitia Obeng, Ghana's first woman to earn a degree in zoology, and of course the very first woman to also have a PhD. And so I'll go back to her and then we'll continue with our conversation from where we left off. So, Doc, wrap up from the Volta Lake project you were talking about.
So they said, okay, go ahead. So I decided I had to build an institute, a research institute, like the CSR has now. And I decided people don't understand me about water because we don't know water. We think water is water. There's hardly anything in it. But people have to understand that the water is alive.
It's a resource.
Exactly. And it's alive. It's not a dead thing. There's so many.
It's a living thing.
Apart from the fish, there's so many living things in the water. So
what are some of them?
I decided to call the institute Institute of Aquatic Biology, means life. Of course, Ghanaians had never heard the word aquatic. So it became a big joke in Ghana. You know, everybody was talking about aquatic. I even heard people making the word sound vulgar and that sort of thing, but it's not necessary. People didn't understand, but because they didn't understand, they sat up and started wondering what aquatic biology was about. You see, which was good for me anyway. So I set up the institute with a few research people I could find and train, and we started working on the Volta Lake, keeping an eye on the lake, taking samples, reading what is going on. We did that for 10 years. We made sure that there would be no weeds on the lake. That in particular, there would be no weeds on the lake.
Why shouldn't we have weeds on the Volta Lake?
Why do you want to? Do
I
you
don't
like
know.
it as it now?
No, I'm not a scientist.
You don't know how it is. You haven't seen it.
I've seen it before, but I don't know why.
Water, because that's where the weeds live. They are water weeds. They are water weeds.
And do they affect the aquatic life in the river?
No. Well, if they're there and they have something in it and the fish can eat the roots, that's something. But they are aquatic plants. Okay. Just like the fish is aquatic animals. So that's where they should be. Except we, as human beings, don't want weeds when we want clear water. That was the point. And they will come unless you stop them, which is what we did. I directed the institute for 10 years. No weeds. Tilapia, before then, very few people had heard the word tilapia. Yes. And then with the second or third year, we had a bumper harvest of fish, of tilapia. That's how tilapia became so powerful and popular in Ghana. You know, that's all from
But today, do you know the state of your Volta Lake?
That's what I'm coming to now, which is very sad. It's very sad.
Pathetic.
It's very sad because to build this dam, Nkrumah had to go and borrow money. Lots and lots, I think 50 villages where people were sacked from their village because they got flooded. A whole lot of things happened to people, and we built the dam. And we are now sitting here watching it becoming a field of weeds. And I have
and a sand
written
mine,
and talked
sand
until I've been
mine, not
blue in
just
the face,
weeds.
and nobody even listens. Nobody. I've talked to most people. I've talked to presidents. I've written to the newspapers. Nobody listens about trying to.
What should we do? What should we do?
We should, long ago when it started, have started cleaning it up, getting the weeds out. That's what everybody does. Because the weed is very fast growing. And if you don't take it off, leave it here, put some here, leave it here for about 2 weeks or so. By the time you come, it has reached there. Because it goes the fastest growing plant, water plant in the world. You know, and nobody would listen. So what am I supposed to do?
Probably we don't know the effect. We don't know the effect of these weeds on the lake. What do they do?
They block the first place physically. You can see they block the water. They've covered the water. So where are the fishermen? Where are the boats to pass?
Okay.
And apart from that, they suck a lot of water too. They suck a lot of water which evaporates. You see. So then they will say, oh, the level of the Volta is going down. Maybe that's not the only thing. Maybe the rains are not coming. But they do that too. And they do that all sorts of things. They support all sorts of animals, snakes. If people are there ask you, they will tell you. Fishermen can't go and fish. You know, it's a terrible thing. America used to have water hyacinth. They took the trouble to clear them all. You know, other places are clearing. But what is it's more pathetic is that here you talk about it and nobody even listens.
But you know, Doc, it's not just the weeds you should be concerned about.
No, that's the number
We are
one.
actually mining for sand in the Volta Lake.
I didn't know that.
Commercial sand winning.
I'm just
in
hearing
the Volta
that
Lake.
now. You see, I'm just hearing that now. So who will take himself
It's
to a
actually-
country and go and borrow so much money and make a dam and then use it for getting sand?
You know,
Does it make
there's
sense to
actually
you?
a badge. You know, it's a whole commercial enterprise. There's a badge on the river that extracts the sand, bring it to the river bank, and there's a whole lot of...
I understand how
Yeah,
they do that. That's what
yeah.
I'm saying. That's what I know they're doing that. But the point is, just answer me. Who will get up, go and borrow, because you don't have the money, go and borrow a lot of money, go and remove your people from various places and go and settle them somewhere they don't want to go, and then you flood their houses and their homes and you use it to collect sand? Crazy. Crazy.
That's interesting, Doc. You know,
Anyway,
it's okay.
Anyway,
We've talked
we did that.
extensively about your
What
research.
I can say is that the Institute of Aquatic Biology looked after the Volta Lake religiously. All the staff, everybody was interested. We looked at for 10 good years, no
But
problem.
today we still have the CSIR and their
No,
mandate.
this is
An
an
aspect.
institute of the
The
CSIR.
yeah.
CSIR has several institutes.
Exactly. So
And they
their
have
mandate is still
Water
intact.
Research Institute
Yes,
now, which
yes.
should be looking after the lake. But the way it is, I suppose, they're probably even scared to go near it.
Doc, you know,
Anyway.
we have to wrap up on
Anyway.
this interview, but I can't let you go without you telling us about your early beginnings. You know, who is Dr. Letitia Obeng, your family, your siblings, and also your kids. Tell us something.
People come from Anum. We are on the other side of the Volta. My father was headmaster at the school. And when the missionaries came, they picked places which were cool to go and live. Anum was one of them. So education started there. There are lots of people, older people, who went to middle school and things. So it was an education place, you know. So that's where but he didn't live there because he was a Presbyterian teacher, so he was transferred all over the place, and eventually we finished up in Efidwase in Ashanti, which is where we all grew up. We were small.
How many siblings do you have?
There were 8 of us.
Okay. And I learned Madame Theodosa.
Yeah, there were 8 of us. The
Was
eldest
actually your
is
sister.
Professor Nestasihine. He was an artist. That's one of the paintings. That's the other one of his paintings.
Okay.
That's another one of his paintings.
That's fine.
He was one of the first Ghanaian artists, and he set up the Kumasi School of Art. That's what he did. That's what he did before he retired. He went all over but that's what he did before. He was number one. My second one was my sister, who was one of the very early Ghanaian intellectual women. You know, Mrs. Papa Few, that group, she was a little younger than Mrs. Pafu and all these people. She was, I think, deputy principal or something of Winneba College when it started or something. Can't remember the details now. But she died early. And my third sister was a nurse and midwife who was in Kumasi. She must have delivered about 1,000 babies. The fourth one is Dosia, who did the flag. Then I come after Dosia. Then there's Julie, who also was a teacher and wrote books and so on. And the one who comes after me, he's in Britain now. He's turning 90 in November, and he was an electrical engineer. He worked there. He didn't come home. He's working. He's there. And the youngest of us all was he was a teacher. He was all over the place, hockey player, everything, that sort of thing. But he died quite young. So there were 8.
You were number...
I'm number 5.
Number 5.
There were 8 of us.
Quite an impressive family history. What do you think might have accounted for this, you know, level of education in your family?
Well, in those days, mind you, my father was a teacher, Presbyterian teacher, eventually became a Presbyterian minister. And if you know anything about Presbyterian, you know how much they were paid.
Yeah.
£2 one and something, I think they used to say. So, of course, to go to school, you need to pay. There was no way he was going to send any of us to good schools. But God being so kind, we all had scholarships to Achimota and various places. All, you know, so he used to say God will provide, so God provided. So that's how we went to school.
You were born during the colonial days. Tell us something, a bit of
all
Ghana
my brothers and sisters
during
were
your
colonial.
time.
Yeah, all my brothers and sisters were colonial. You know, they're all colonial. My kids are the ones who missed good old colonial
life.
days. It was fine because depends on how you took it. You know, if you accepted it and, you know, you are supposed to do this, you are supposed to go to school, that was okay. But when it was getting to the time when we were seeking independence, everything changed. Well, most people changed. I know I changed. You know,
what
the thing was that get out of our country and let us do it ourselves. You know, so that was, at least me, that was my attitude. Unfortunately, I even went to Britain at that time. I came back just in time for the independence.
Were you involved in the independence struggle?
No, I went to university, but we all, yeah, everybody was. Everybody in Ghana was, we all were. Whenever they had, they used to have a court of some sort, in commission of inquiry, at what used to be there's a building close to the CSR where they used to go. We all used to go and sit down and listen to the white people saying bad things about Nkrumah and Danko and all those people, you know. It was a very exciting time those days.
But when you do a comparative analysis of the Gold Coast, your time, and today, which one would you say is
I don't know. I don't know how they compare. I don't know how they compare. The parameters are all different. You know, they're all different.
But do you think those days were better than today?
No, I don't. I don't think we can say better or worse. You know, each one had its own.
How would you put it?
Each one had its own. Each one had its own time. We colonial days, okay. So you couldn't do this and you couldn't do that, but we did do things. And now this we can do this, you can do that. But there are certain things that we can't do. You know, so you can't really compare the two unless you have a specific assignment that you want to put together and analyze.
Dr. Obeng, you appear to be a very tough woman. That's my assessment of you.
I'm excited because these things matter to me.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. I'm so upset over Volta Lake and how we've changed it from a water thing to a forest. I think we ought to do
a
something
commercial
about
entity.
It.
Yeah.
I think we ought to do something. I think all of you, all of us, everybody in Ghana, this is it's our shame. It's really, it's a shame. Yeah. It's a shame to the country that we should go and borrow money and make a dam and leave it to be like this. Yeah. It's a big shame.
When I was reading on you or researching on your life history, I realized that you lost your husband at a very tender age. You lost your husband at a very young age with 3 children. So how did you combine your research projects and then family, you know? How did you do it?
First thing I should say is that for me, being young, you can do anything. You know, for me, it doesn't matter what the problem is. If you put your mind to be with when you're young, you can do it. Okay, so my husband dies. So we have 3 kids. If he had lived, both of us would have looked after them. Yeah. But he was like, so it's my responsibility. It was as simple as that.
And he didn't marry again?
Would you, with 3 kids, put 3 kids to another man, give him the responsibility?
You could have shared the responsibility.
In any case, I didn't want anybody else anyway. I didn't want anybody else. And no, the kids were very important to me. I had to make sure that whatever dream we had is realized, you know. So they were number 1. And thank God they never let me down.
Where are they now?
Well, Ajua was, finally, she got a PhD in sanitary water something. She worked with the World Bank and she retired a few years ago.
That's the first one.
The second one, and which Ghanaians should know about. He was the fastest runner in Ghana in the 80s, 70s, 80s. Because he was running and so on, he was very intelligent too. He did a BSc, 2 MScs and a PhD in chemistry. Wow. But his interest was in athletics. So eventually he worked with the IAAF. He's just retired last year, you know, you see.
And the third one?
The third one, Kweku, he's got a business, what do you call them business? Management business.
We are happy your kids are really, they have become achievers. As a single mother, how did you do it?
Well, I don't know. They did
Special
that and I
training,
did. I
any
just
special
went
training?
on doing what I was doing. They
What
went
were
on
you
it,
doing?
But we're all together. One thing I do know is that right from the time their father died, we bonded as a group. You know, I think maybe that's what did it. Even now, today, we're still a group of 4, you know. And maybe that's why everybody helps everybody else. We talk, take the phone and that sort of thing. You know, it's not like some families where brothers and sisters don't talk. These ones are really bonded.
Yeah.
So maybe that
That's the reason.
but of course, it's also God's things too.
You know, at the latter end of this interview, we are going to let you take us through your pictures, tell us the story behind them. But before that, let me wrap up this particular session by asking you how you want to be remembered many years to come. Because already you're 94 years.
Yeah.
Huge milestone.
I know.
I know there'll be 100 more to go.
Well, I think the thing that I would say is that for me, for myself, all my life, I haven't hungered after any particular thing. Like I want to be the boss of this place or I want to do this. I've never done that. I get told, you go and do this, and I go, and my thing is, I do it to the best
of your
my
abilities.
ability. So I can tell myself, not the person who told me to, I can tell myself
that you did
Letitia, that was the best you could do. Maybe somebody could have done it better.
Yeah.
But me, that was the best I could do.
I love that statement.
Yeah.
You did it to the best of your abilities.
That has been my thing. I put all that I can into it. Of course, you make enemies when you do that too. But I put all that I can into it so that when I finish, I can't say, maybe I should have done this one. And no, I tell myself, that was the best that I could do
for yourself.
Now, I don't hanker after, I have not hankered after posts and things like that, no, because it's better for, I understood, it's better for me, somebody to be interested and think that you can do something. Instead of you saying, I'm applying for this, or why don't you see this person, so they give me this post. I've never done that in my life. So the little bit which God gave me, I just worked with it.
Dr. Letitia Obeng, thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you.
Indeed, I'm grateful.
Thank you. I'm grateful that you came and talked to.
Indeed, you're a hero. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you for saying so.
Thank you. Are you cool?
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so at this point, we're going to go through her pictures, Dr. Letitia Obeng's pictures, and we're going to start with this very picture. Doc, tell us.
That's right. I've kept this one because it shows my family, the immediate family, my brothers, my sisters, their kids, and so on, all looking so young, you see, so pretty.
When was it taken?
So oh, it is a long time, sometime in the 70s or something like that. Okay. It's a long time ago. But that's how they all looked. Now, of course,
where are you? Where are you?
I'm that one. The tall one, yeah.
The big one
right.
here.
That's right. They're all there. Lucy, Julie, Dosia, everybody.
Where's Dosia?
That's it.
Hey, very fresh woman at the time.
Right. They're all here. They're kids.
Yeah. That's lovely. And this one?
Oh, this one. This is when I came back from, after my PhD, when I came back. This was at the CSR. At that time, it was called Academy of Sciences. And everybody was so excited, they wanted to take pictures of me. So that's one of them.
That's one of them. It's nice.
Of course, you would notice I haven't been wearing any
makeup.
I wear cloth all the time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing I should have told you about.
Okay.
Because during my graduate days, my students' pre-graduate days, when I went to England, this was before independence, you were asking about, one of the things which really hit me was that the white people had made us look down on our culture. If you're going somewhere, you had to wear a dress. you know,
to appear a lady.
That sort of thing.
Then it means
I
you're
remember
not a lady.
I was refused to go to a nightclub because I was in cloth, that sort of thing. When I went to Britain, I decided I was going to make sure Ghanaians' women's
culture
thing is recognized. So I started all the time I was in the UK, cold or not cold. I was always dressed. I've never changed. I've never worn a dress. I don't remember since that time. You see, so they had these people doing that.
I love that passion.
So I really pushed.
This is a nice one. Your nuclear family.
Yeah, that's me. That's also my 70th birthday.
Okay.
It was my 70th.
You didn't look it. You look very young. Yeah.
That was 70.
Okay.
And this one.
And who is this?
That's Kwesi. That's Ajua, and that's Kweku.
Okay, cool. And
their wives, their kids.
Okay, and their wives are white.
Yeah, because they went to England with me when they were young. How do they go marry black people? You have to come back home and work here together.
Wow.
That's for marriage. It comes.
And this is a nice one.
This is our group. This must have been in the 80s. Yeah, that's us in the 80s. But everybody has changed. He's bald now. He's also bald.
Wow.
In fact, I'm bald too. We are all bald.
And what about the girl?
Ajua.
She's not bald.
This one, Ajua. Oh, she was here recently for the launch of my book.
Okay, right.
This is my niece. That's our Dosier's daughter.
Oh, okay.
It's my niece.
Very nice.
Yeah. So Liverpool is special.
This is the
very special.
Award.
That's the that's the side. The award they gave me.
So you have
a citation. I haven't got the citation, but the citation is in there. Yeah.
So now you have two doctorate degrees.
Doctor of Science honorary degree.
Okay, and then
Doctor
the main
Science, not PhD, Doctor of Science.
Doctor of Science.
I have this one, but Kumasi University, where I was, they also gave me one before this one. They gave me one 2017 or 2018.
Okay.
And then after that, the Liverpool people gave me this one.
This one. That's fine.
The Liverpool one is really special.
Very special. And our final picture, the Order of the Volta from
not order.
The people
Star of Ghana.
From the people and governments of Ghana.
I don't think many people realize. Anyway.
So where's the award?
There's Order of Volta. There's
the Star. So the Star is the highest.
The big one is the highest. Yeah,
the Star is the highest. Where's the award? Where is it?
The medal. Oh, I don't even know where it is. It's one in a suitcase somewhere. I don't wear it. It's in a suitcase somewhere. But Kufuor gave it to me.
Yeah, what was it? 2006.
7 or something.
On Friday.
Just before he stepped out there.
June 30, 2006.
Okay, then that was it. Yeah. Just before he stepped down, before he finished. I wasn't the only one. There were lots of us.
Okay.
There were lots of us who got medals. Lots of people who got medals, which I thought I was very grateful.
Yeah.
You know? And you live in a country, you live with people. If somebody is nice to you, it helps you to appreciate the fact that you have lived in that particular place with those particular people. So it's very nice.
Any advice for us briefly?
Yeah, well, I can tell you what I've told myself all the time. If you are given any job to do, no matter the circumstance, do it to the best of your abilities.